Bullseye said he wanted to do one good deed, and that may have just led to the most shocking moment in the entire season. Because after this episode of Daredevil Born Again, nothing is ever going to be the same. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nerds of the Multiverse channel. Episode 4, entitled Gloves Off, takes everything that we've been building so far, and all of it just explodes. Bullseye is back and more dangerous than ever. Matt is trying to stop everything from spiraling out of control. And Fisk is preparing for his biggest moment yet. And by the end of this episode, everything changes. Episode 4 may be one of the most intense episodes that we've gotten yet. Starting off with Bullseye. Bullseye is on a completely different level in this episode. It starts off with that scene in the diner where he claims to have seen the Punisher and the task force shows up, and he just brutally murders all of them with silverware, a lobster, and a toothpick. And not only that, he leaves his logo on the door with some ketchup. What an insane opening sequence. And I will say, I think that Bullseye has become one of the most beloved characters in all of Marvel, and that's crazy to think because he's a villain. But people tend to gravitate towards the villains, and he's a phenomenal character. Shout out to Wilson Bethel. But like we mentioned, he claims to just want to do one good deed to get back in balance in his mind with the world, because he feels bad about what he did to Foggy. And this one good deed that he believes will balance the scales is killing Wilson Fisk, which he believes is why him and Daredevil need to team up, because he will do something that Daredevil can't. But he is still absolutely brutal in this episode. And that's kind of what makes him the most dangerous I think he's ever been, because he thinks he's doing the right thing. He thinks he's got a good motive behind all of this. And in reality, it's just a twisted way of thinking. Also, we can kind of see that Fisk is slowly losing control. We see this first with Mr. Charles ambushing him and Buck, showing up and kind of just questioning why he's not gotten his shipment yet from the Northern Star. So some tension is definitely building between them. The governor is on his case like crazy, not wanting to endorse him until Vanessa goes and speaks to her. We can kind of see the emotional instability that he has in the boxing match, because he claims, he says he's not going to hit me one time. And he's going pretty good until he sees Vanessa is there. He's worried about her, doesn't want her showing up at this fight, and then he gets hit one time, and he loses it. And he about kills this guy in front of everybody. And I believe that this fight is not just a physical representation of where he's at, it's kind of a mental representation of where he's at, because yeah, he's throwing all the punches, he's doing all of it. But in that scene, you can see him slowly falling apart. And by the end of that scene, he's definitely falling apart. And I think he's about to lose his mind. And he's going to go off on the city. Also in this episode, we get a very, very cool moment, because in the entirety of Matt and Karen's relationship, on again, off again, on again, off again, we have never once heard them, at least from my recollection, we have never once heard either of them say, "I love you." And they said it in this episode. That was kind of a cool moment for Matt and Karen. And I think it's cool that we get that in this episode, where we get, Vanessa dying at the very, very end. So Matt is with the love of his life, and Fisk loses the love of his life. Kind of crazy. But this adds some serious weight to what could eventually happen later in the season, or maybe even next season with Karen. Also, there's a very cool moment in this episode that I really enjoy, and it's very, very subtle. But you see at one point in the beginning where Dex, he has a coin and he flips it up and it lands into a homeless person's cup. And later on in the episode, we see the coin that Dex had taken from the church that Matt found at the diner, and Matt flips it into the coin and it goes back into the cup of coins at the church. So, people are like, oh, that's kind of cool. They did the same thing. In reality, I think it's kind of saying that they are two sides of the same coin. Dex is like the extreme version of Daredevil, because he thinks what he's doing is right. Daredevil is doing what is right, but Daredevil won't kill. Dex will go to whatever extreme he has to, and that includes killing. But I think in a way they're more similar than they think. So it's subtle, but I think it's a very effective visual representation of them being the same, but slightly different. Standout moments from this episode, hands down, it starts off with a banger of a scene. It is the diner fight. Because like we mentioned earlier briefly, Dex shows up, he orders the banana smoothie, he's just kind of talking all nice to the waitress and stuff, and then he puts in the call and says that the Punisher has showed up at this diner, and he has a gun, so the task force is obviously going to show up. And Dex did this because he wants to kill the task force. He wants to get at Fisk. So They show up. First kill is with a toothpick. Insane. Obviously, nothing should surprise us anymore after seeing him kill somebody with his own tooth last season. So, pretty cool. Silverware going everywhere. Like, this man is using forks and knives and, like, my goodness. And he even uses a lobster at one point. And that comes right after he makes a joke to this guy about, oh yeah, having dogs at a restaurant is unsanitary. And it's like, this dude is afraid for his life, thinking that him and his dog are probably about to both get killed. But no. And then Dex just casually throws some silverware behind him, gets the task force member before killing him with a lobster. How crazy was that opening? Obviously, like we mentioned too, he leaves his logo on the door. So he's like, yep, Bullseye was here. Insane opening. Then we also get Daredevil versus Bullseye. So this is after Matt has gone undercover dressed as the task force agent, and he went to his former church. He talked to the young man there who we found out that Dex did not kill, and he kind of tells him where Dex is. Dex lives very, very close to the church, pretty much across the street. So Matt goes there, and he's waiting for Dex, and we get a pretty sick fight. Dex is throwing CDs. Matt obviously throws his billy club. They have a scene where they both punch each other in the head at the same time, fall back. It's kind of crazy. Matt throws his billy club at the wall at one point, and Dex catches it, and you see him smile because he's like, yeah, I caught that. And then all of a sudden, boom, he starts getting the crap beat out of him. And then he takes his neighbor lady hostage. This is where we get the one good deed scene where he's telling him, hey, we need to work together because we both want to take down Fisk, and this is going to make up for what I did to your friend. And Matt's kind of like in disbelief, like this guy wants to help, but he wants to do something wrong. I can't do that because he's crazy. So, Daredevil versus Bullseye, awesome. Did not disappoint at all. Then, obviously, we have the Fisk fight at the end. This is about the last 12-ish minutes of the episode, and we finally get to see what this has been all about. And let me just tell you, his confidence is so high. Like I mentioned, he said this guy is not going to land a hit on me, which he almost did not. Brutal scene. Vincent D'Onofrio got in pretty good shape for this role. Definitely trained, and he talked about this in an interview. He's like, he says, I got to see a little bit of what Charlie has to do every single day. So pretty cool. But that scene's insane. He's kicking the crap out of this guy, and pretty much he's doing great. It seems like this guy is literally not going to do a thing to him until Vanessa shows up. She's not supposed to be there because Fisk is setting himself up as bait for Bullseye to get there so they can kill him, and maybe even Daredevil, which is kind of crazy. We see earlier in the episode that that's like the last place that Matt has a memory of his dad, and that's like where Matt spent a lot of time. He trained there. He has memories with Elektra there. So the fact that like Fisk is fighting there, it's trying to draw both of them out. So he does not want Vanessa there. He's like, you need to go away. You need to just stay away until after this fight. She shows up, as we saw, and Fisk gets distracted, and that's when he gets cracked in the face one time. Sets him off. He about kills the dude. Pretty much probably broke his ribs. Definitely knocked him out. And so this guy gets carted out of there. He wins everything. And this is when chaos starts. Because Bullseye shows up. And he starts killing every task force member. All of them brutally taken out. And my goodness, they're trying to get Vanessa out of here. Fisk is like, yeah, get rid of her. She needs to get out of here. And then Bullseye takes one of those miniature collectibles and he throws it right at Vanessa. Gonna kill her. Fisk takes his award that he just won, his trophy, his plaque, whatever it is, and he shatters the glass. And so Bullseye misses, or so we think. And in that moment, Vanessa had also shot Bullseye, pretty much in the rib. He's injured. But Fisk picks up the gun, points it right at Dex, and Matt shows up and saves Bullseye. They both fly out through the window, shatter the window, and let me just tell you, that scene right there, watching it first time, did not notice it whatsoever, but we kind of have a picture that's blowing up right now on the internet. People are very convinced that the Watcher is in that scene, seeing him in live action, showing up in Daredevil, which, if that is the Watcher, kind of crazy. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think the Watcher is in this episode? I'm kind of blown away by that, if it's true. So, that's a possibility. Anyways, back to what we know for sure happened. Fisk obviously did not kill either of them. They both fly out the window. They're gone. And Fisk turns around. and Vanessa has a shard of glass from the broken collectible in her head, standing there, and she's bleeding out. So, in a way, in his attempt to save Vanessa, which it would have been a lot worse, she absolutely would have been dead if he did not intervene. But in his attempt to save her, he's part of the reason that she's actually dead, because the glass shattered and it went straight into her head. And you can actually see it in the background with Fisk with the gun. We just didn't see it because we're looking at him, obviously, but then when you see later on, oh my gosh. So she's standing there, she falls down on the mat, he's calling for an ambulance, and she's bleeding out. And the blood from her head, it goes onto her white dress, which looks like her painting a rabbit in a snowstorm. Their painting that they've been bonding over since season 1 of Daredevil on Netflix, that they have hung in their house with the blood from season 3 on it, and it looks just like that. It's a straight up resemblance of it, and my goodness. So Vanessa Fisk, it seems that she is dead. So if that is the case, and she does not make it through this episode, which I don't believe so, Fisk is going to be on a rampage throughout the city. It would not shock me one bit if he ends up revealing Matt's identity to the world, because what else does he have to lose now? Vanessa's gone. That was part of the deal. He was going to leave Vanessa alone. But then again, Fisk kind of broke that too, because Vanessa had Foggy killed. So we might be seeing Matt get his identity revealed, at least before the end of this season. Like I said, it looks like he's going to be arrested at the very end of the season. From this picture we get in the trailer, this seems to be his last date with Karen. So I think Matt's still going to end up in prison. But Fisk is probably going to leak his identity. We see a scene from earlier trailers that Fisk is standing in like a church. It's like, well, why would that be? Probably for Vanessa's funeral. But I don't think Bullseye's done. I think Bullseye's going to go after Fisk now. And it's all going to lead to them going after all the vigilantes now. Obviously, White Tiger is somebody who's a person of interest now. Jessica Jones is still coming. She's not shown up once this season yet, but from the new trailer, it appears she has a daughter, and probably with Luke Cage. It's their daughter, Dani, most likely. And they're going to show up, and we're going to see that. So the rest of the season is going to be crazy. But let's talk about some character spotlights for a minute. For the first one, obviously, Bullseye being in this is hands down one of the highlights of the entire episode. His character arc is insane. He is insane. Obviously, he thinks he's doing good, but he is completely unhinged. And every scene that he's in is brutal. But he does seem to have some sort of sanity back after, everything that happened with him and like going to prison and everything. He seems to have some type of order back in his life. But he's focused on Fisk, and he thinks it's the right thing to do. So Bullseye is a fun character. He's definitely a scary character. If you notice, every scene that he was in this episode, there was not that blue hue that comes on the screen when he's there. However, the Marvel logo was blue at the beginning, so that's kind of crazy to see that as well. And the other character who I will highlight for this episode in particular is Vanessa Fisk. She has been great since season 1 of Daredevil. Been a joy watching her on the screen. I've enjoyed her character. I think she's been really, really fun. And just kind of seeing where she's been at from Born Again season 1 and this season. I know originally they didn't even know if they were going to bring her back, or they were even talking about recasting her, and I was like, that's a mistake. So I'm glad she got to come back. But if this is the end for her, thank you. You did great as the role, and I'm glad that you were a part of this and all 5 seasons that you were in. So let's talk some theories. What is going to happen next? Well, like we kind of talked about a little bit, what's Fisk's next move? Especially if Vanessa's gone. I think he's going to crack down a lot harder on the vigilantes. I think Matt is going to get his identity revealed for sure. And he's going to start an all-out war. And it's going to be crazy to see him get taken down at the end of the season, because I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen as well. Also, what's Bullseye's path? Because I don't know exactly if his one good deed is going to end with just killing Vanessa, or if he's going to go and finish off Fisk as well. So we kind of have to wait and see what's going to happen with him, because what's going to happen to him after he takes out Fisk? Is he going to be an anti-hero? Maybe he'll join the Thunderbolts. We'll see if that happens. I could definitely see it, especially if Valentina Allegra DeFontaine is going to be in this season, and her company, OXE. What's going to happen to Matt? Is there going to be a consequence for Daredevil saving Bullseye? Possibly. There's going to be some type of thing in the future, because, especially if that's like one of his nemesis. If Bullseye goes bad again and kills somebody else that Matt loves, Matt could regret saving him. Who knows? I will say, though, kind of in similar fashion, with this being the greatest rated MCU Marvel episode ever, this is my favorite episode of Born Again Season 2. This is a 9.7 out of 10 for me. Just above Episode 3 and a little bit above Episode 1. Episode 2 is still my least favorite for the season so far. Not bad, though. But this episode was just insane. And we're only halfway. We still have 4 episodes left of this season. So I think it's going to get even crazier. And we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But I want to hear from you. What did you think about this episode? Do you think Vanessa Fisk is actually dead? Or do you think she's going to make it out of this miraculously somehow? Let me know down below in the comments. And also, did Bullseye's one good deed make everything worse? If you are watching Daredevil Born Again every week, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be covering this every week for the rest of the season. But that is all I have for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like. And if you want to see other Marvel content such as news, rankings, theories, lore videos, gaming videos, breakdowns, and more, also make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. For live updates, I am on social media. I am on TikTok at Nerds of the Multiverse, on Instagram at The Nerds of the Multiverse, and on X at Nerds of the Mult 1. And also, if you have not already subscribed to the Nerd Bros Podcast YouTube channel, make sure you do so. It's a podcast between myself and the Nerds of Ren. It's Marvel, it's Star Wars, it's DC, and it's every Tuesday night. And you do not want to miss it because it is a fun time, and I think you guys will enjoy it as well. But with all of that being said, I love you 3000, and I will see you in the next video.